Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History. Today's story is going to change the way you look at change forever. The humble penny has a long and surprising history of turning ordinary people into lucky finders of unexpected fortune, and one particular year has been catching the eye of collectors around the world. We're talking about the 1971 Lincoln Penny, a coin millions of people have handled without realizing just how special and valuable the right one can be. Before you assume that a single cent couldn't possibly carry serious value, make sure you stay with this all the way through because the surprises connected to this little coin are going to blow your mind. Let's start with what makes the 1971 penny part of American coinage history. By this time, the Lincoln design created by Victor David Brenner had already been circulating for more than 6 decades. The obverse features the familiar right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln, a tribute that began in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of his birth. Above his head sits the phrase "In God We Trust," with the word liberty positioned to the left and the date 1971 stamped clearly on the right. What many people don't realize is that different U.S. mints produced pennies this year, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, which means varieties and mint marks matter more than most people think. Flip the coin over and you'll see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design that replaced the original wheat ears in 1959. While millions of coins carried this reverse design, the beauty lies in the tiny possibilities for variations, errors, and sharpness of strike. The words 1 cent and United States of America are boldly stamped, along with E pluribus unum, but it's the details in the lettering, the spacing, and the clarity of the memorial that can set one coin apart from thousands of others. The year 1971 produced hundreds of millions of pennies, and for that reason, most people assume they're worth only face value. But the truth is, condition changes everything. Coins that were kept in uncirculated, original mint state condition with sharp edges, glossy surfaces, and zero signs of wear can skyrocket in desirability. A penny that looks brand new after more than 50 years is something collectors love because time has worn down the majority that went into pockets, piggy banks, drawers, vending machines, and parking meters. Another reason this coin has grabbed attention is because of the minting errors and rare varieties that slipped into circulation. Some of the most sought-after examples include Double Die Obverse coins, where the lettering and date may appear slightly shadowed or doubled. A subtle difference to an untrained eye, but a jackpot clue to experienced collectors. There are also off-center strikes, missing letters, die cracks, and weak strikes that can make an ordinary 1-cent coin stand apart as something truly rare. These imperfections, instead of being seen as flaws, are embraced by collectors because they make the coin unique and highly sought after. Then there's the matter of grading. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins using a detailed scale, and a 1971 penny that ranks high on that scale can command extremely high prices at auction. Mint state grades like MS65, MS66, or higher are rare for coins that were not originally saved by collectors. A flawless surface, original red or reddish-brown luster, and clean detail can push the value of the coin far past what anyone would guess by looking at the date alone. Even pennies with minor imperfections can hold surprising worth if the strike is bold and the color is rich. Collectors also pay attention to where the penny was minted. For example, a 1971 penny without a mint mark was made in Philadelphia, while those with a small d under the date came from Denver. Some coins feature an S from the San Francisco Mint, especially proofs and special strikes. Proof coins, which were struck with specially prepared dies for sharp detail and mirror-like finishes, are among the most beautiful examples. A pristine proof coin from this year can catch the attention of serious numismatists who know their value extends far beyond pocket change. Even the slightest mishap in the minting process for these proof coins can make them incredibly valuable. The majority of 1971 pennies were made of a bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. That rich copper color is a major part of the coin's charm, and when that original red luster remains after decades, it becomes even more desirable. Copper reacts to air, oils, and contact, so keeping that bright color intact is something uncommon and admired. Most pennies dull over time, turning brown or spotting, which is why red-toned examples are highly prized and can fetch premium prices. what makes all of this even more fascinating is that so many people still have jars, boxes, or forgotten drawers filled with pennies they've never bothered to check. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance could be hiding an error, a rare mint mark, or a condition far better than average. Some collectors have found astonishing treasures tucked into coin rolls from the bank or mixed in with loose change around the house. The thrill of discovering a valuable penny is what keeps collectors searching, and the 1971 pennies remain on their radar for very good reasons. Now that you know the background, the design, the features, the varieties, and the importance of condition, it's time to get to the part everyone waits for. How much could a single 1-cent 1971 Lincoln penny actually be worth if it hits that perfect combination of rarity, preservation, and collector demand? The highest known value for one of these remarkable coins reached an incredible $55,000. Today, we're diving into one of those surprising coins, a piece from the late 70s that millions of people have handled without realizing the hidden potential behind its copper surface. We're talking about the 1977 United States Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that might look like loose change but has stunned coin enthusiasts with some unbelievable sale prices when found in the right condition with the right characteristics. To appreciate what makes this little coin fascinating, you have to picture the United States in 1977. It was a time of cultural change, economic challenges, and shifting styles. While disco music played on radios and Americans adjusted to a post-Vietnam era, the U.S. Mint continued producing the Lincoln cent, a coin already deeply woven into American history since it was introduced in 1909. The 1977 penny kept the classic and familiar design created by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse side is the right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of leadership and determination. Above his head, you can clearly see the words "In God We Trust," a reminder of national values printed on every coin. To the left is the word liberty, and to the right sits the date 1977, sometimes accompanied by a mint mark like D for Denver or S for San Francisco depending on where the coin was struck. Turning the penny over reveals the Lincoln Memorial, a powerful American landmark that replaced the earlier wheat ears design starting in 1959. The reverse shows the memorial in fine detail, and if the strike is sharp enough, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside. Surrounding the memorial are the phrases 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum. While so many coins from this era look identical to the average person, slight differences in strike quality, minting errors, color, or grade can send values soaring in ways most people don't expect. Like many pennies made during this time, the 1977 Lincoln cent was composed of a bronze alloy made of 95% copper with the rest a mixture of zinc and tin. This was before the big change in 1982, when pennies shifted to mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. That means older coins like the 1977 edition have a more solid weight and a deeper, richer look, especially if the surface has been preserved. Copper coins naturally darken over time, so finding one that still holds strong red or reddish-brown luster after decades is impressive and rare. Collectors pay close attention to the color designation, often described as RD for red, RB for red-brown, or BN for brown. The closer to red, the higher the eye appeal and the greater the demand from dedicated numismatists, but condition alone isn't the only factor making these pennies worth more than pocket change. The U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of them in 1977, but not all were struck perfectly. Some left the mint with double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, weak impressions, die cracks, or planchet issues. These kinds of mint errors can turn a common coin into a standout rarity. A double die obverse might show faint doubling on the date or lettering, while a dramatic off-center strike could leave part of the design missing entirely. Even a coin with a slightly misaligned die or unusual rim can catch the attention of collectors who specialize in unique errors. While most people would never notice these features without a magnifying glass, coin experts look for exactly these traits when determining value. Grading also plays a major role. Most pennies from everyday circulation have scratches, where on Lincoln's cheek and jaw line, loss of original shine, and marks from contact with other coins. But every so often, someone finds a coin that was never used, perhaps rescued from a bank roll, a collection, or a coin set decades ago. These uncirculated pieces might still have their original mint luster and undamaged surfaces. Professional grading services assign grades using the Sheldon scale, and top grades like MS65, MS66, or higher make a massive difference in value. A coin in this condition, especially with full red luster and no significant marks, can leave collectors battling for ownership and pushing bidding to remarkable levels. Another thing that drives interest is the presence of proof coins and special strikes from the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins usually have mirror-like backgrounds and razor-sharp details, created specifically for collectors using polished dies. While these coins were not released into general circulation, examples that remain pristine today can be incredibly desirable. Even minor imperfections in a proof coin can add uniqueness and elevate its value dramatically if it captures the eye of the right collector. Many people have spare change sitting untouched for years. Pennies gather dust in boxes, bowls, old wallets, jars, drawers, and forgotten containers. Some are sitting in attics, basements, or passed down through family belongings without ever being inspected. That's what makes videos like this important. Somewhere out there, someone might be holding a 1977 penny that doesn't look like anything special at first, but under the right light and with the right details, it could turn out to be worth far more than a few cents. The difference between an ordinary penny and a highly valuable one can come down to a tiny error, a perfect strike, or a condition that survived untouched for nearly half a century. Now comes the part every viewer sticks around for. After all the stories, the history, and the eye-opening facts, people want to know just how high the value can go. So let's talk about the most shocking sales connected to this coin. Certain 1977 Lincoln pennies in flawless mint state condition with exceptional color and detail have stunned the numismatic community by reaching an astounding final sale price of $51,000. Today, we're uncovering the surprising story of the 1978 United States 1-cent Lincoln penny, a coin that millions of people have touched without ever realizing its true potential. Stay locked in, because once you hear how valuable the right one can be, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. To understand why this coin matters, you have to imagine what America looked like in 1978. It was a time of change, challenge, and transition. Pop culture was shifting, technology was evolving, and the country was just a few years away from major economic shifts that would affect coin production forever. In the middle of all that, the United States Mint continued releasing the iconic Lincoln penny, a design that had already been in circulation since 1909. The obverse of the 1978 penny features the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, a portrait created by Victor David Brenner to honor one of the most respected leaders in American history. Above his head, the words "In God We Trust" stand boldly. To the left is the word liberty, and on the right is the date 1978. Depending on where it was made, you might see a mint mark just below the date, such as a small D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. Coins with no mint mark were struck in Philadelphia. Turn the coin over and the reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, a powerful symbol of leadership and legacy. If the strike is sharp enough, you can even make out the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial. The inscriptions "United States of America" and 1 cent appear clearly, along with the Latin phrase "E pluribus unum." While this reverse design was common from 1959 to 2008, the condition, strike quality, and color of each individual coin can make a massive difference in value. Just like pennies minted before 1982, the 1978 Lincoln cent was made of a mostly copper composition. The metal blend was 95% copper and the remaining portion a mix of tin and zinc. This gives the coin a richer weight and a deeper color compared to the zinc core pennies that came later. Over time, copper develops toning and darkens, especially if it wasn't stored carefully. That's why collectors look closely at color and shine, using descriptions like BN for brown, RB for red-brown, and RD for bright original red. The redder the coin appears, the more desirable it is, especially if the surfaces are clean and reflective. Another piece of the puzzle is condition. Most of the 1978 pennies were used in everyday life. They were handled, dropped, rubbed against other coins, tossed into drawers, and scraped against vending machines. As a result, the majority show heavy wear, scratches, and discoloration. That's what you'd expect from a coin made in the hundreds of millions. But every so often, someone finds a piece that was never circulated, never damaged, never handled roughly. Maybe it was saved in a roll, tucked into a collection, or set aside without realizing its future importance. These untouched, uncirculated coins with sharp edges, smooth fields, and full mint luster are the ones collectors chase. Then come the rare varieties and mint errors that make certain pennies from this year much more valuable than others. Some coins show doubling on the lettering or the date, known as a double die. Others may have been struck slightly off-center, or produced with dies that were misaligned or cracked. The difference between a normal coin and an error coin isn't always visible at a quick glance, but serious collectors examine these small details with magnification. A noticeable error can turn a coin from common to extraordinary in an instant. Professional grading also has a huge impact on value. Services like PCGS and NGC examine coins under strict standards and assign them a grade on the Sheldon scale. A typical penny from circulation might only reach a grade of VF or XF, but an uncirculated example in mint state can reach MS60 and beyond. Once a penny crosses into the upper grades like MS65, MS66, or higher with full red color and no major marks, the price jumps dramatically. That's where collectors start competing aggressively, and auction prices begin to surprise people. On top of that, proof coins from the San Francisco Mint add another dimension. Proof pennies are struck with specially prepared dies that give the coin a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp detail. These coins were not meant for circulation but for collectors, and when one remains in flawless condition after all these years, it becomes a prime prize. Even the faintest imperfection in a proof coin can make it unique, and that uniqueness often captures attention and drives up interest. What makes all this even more exciting is the fact that so many people have old coins sitting around without realizing their potential. That box of coins from a grandparent, that forgotten piggy bank, that stash of change in the closet, any of those could be hiding a gem from 1978. Someone somewhere might already have a high-grade, uncirculated penny sitting in plain sight, but without knowing what to look for, they might never think twice. That's why understanding the coin's story, its design elements, its composition, and its error possibilities is so important. The most intriguing part of any coin story is always the value reveal, and this one is no different. While most 1978 pennies are only worth face value, the rarest ones, especially those in exceptional condition with the right characteristics, have achieved unbelievable prices at auction. One of the finest known examples shocked collectors when it sold for an astonishing $47,000. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of the most fascinating and collectible coins from the United States of America, the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny. This little copper coin, which most people might think is just pocket change, could actually be worth an incredible amount of money today. Stay tuned until the end of this video because you won't believe how much one rare 1980 Lincoln penny has sold for in the collector's market. Let's begin our exciting journey into the world of this historic American coin. The 1980 Lincoln penny belongs to one of the most recognized and longest-running coin series in U.S. history, the Lincoln cent. This coin has been a part of American life since 1909, when it was first introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, one of the most beloved and respected leaders in American history. Designed by the famous sculptor Victor David Brenner, the coin carries the powerful portrait of Lincoln on the front, symbolizing honesty, freedom, and unity. For more than a century, the Lincoln penny has remained in circulation, witnessing changes in the nation's economy, design styles, and even minting technology. Now, the 1980 penny might seem like just another modern coin, but collectors know better. Coins minted in this year hold special appeal for a number of reasons: historical context, metal composition, mint varieties, and of course, rare errors that make some of them worth thousands of dollars today. Let's talk about what makes this coin special. The 1980 Lincoln penny was minted during an interesting period in U.S. coinage. These pennies were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives them that distinct reddish-brown shine that collectors love. Just a couple of years later, in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a cheaper composition, mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. That means the 1980 penny was one of the last solid copper coins ever made, making it a small piece of American monetary history. Now, depending on where the coin was minted, you'll find different mint marks under the date. The 1980 pennies were produced at two main U.S. mints, Philadelphia and Denver. The ones from Denver have a small D mint mark below the year, while those from Philadelphia were struck without any mint mark at all. Though millions were produced, not all 1980 pennies are equal. Collectors are always searching for high-grade, uncirculated examples of these coins, the kind that have sharp details, clean surfaces, and that original luster straight from the mint. Over time, most pennies get scratched, discolored, or worn out due to circulation, but a few lucky ones survive untouched, often stored in rolls, proof sets, or forgotten collections. These flawless coins are what truly excite numismatists because their condition can dramatically affect their market value. Now, here's where things get really fascinating. Some 1980 Lincoln pennies feature rare and unusual minting errors, and that's where the big money comes in. These errors could include double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or repunched mint marks. A double die error means the design was accidentally struck twice, causing noticeable doubling in the letters or numbers. These are highly sought after because they're visual proof of a unique minting mistake. The more dramatic the doubling, the higher the value. Off-center strikes happen when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies, leading to a coin that looks oddly shifted or incomplete. Such pieces are instantly recognizable and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how severe the misalignment is. Clipped planchets, where a small piece of the coin is missing due to a blank cutting error, are also fascinating to collectors who love one-of-a-kind finds, but not every valuable 1980 penny needs an error. Sometimes, it's the condition alone that makes it rare. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins based on their grade, ranging from poor, P1, to the ultimate mint state, MS70. A regular 1980 penny in average circulated condition might only be worth a cent or two, but in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially if it's graded MS67 or higher, its value skyrockets. Coins with that kind of perfection are incredibly rare, often saved by accident in bank rolls or original mint packaging decades ago. Imagine holding a small piece of history that's over 40 years old, still gleaming as if it were struck yesterday. That's the kind of treasure collectors dream of finding. It's not just about the coin itself, but about the story it tells, a symbol of a time when the world was changing, technology was advancing, and even a humble penny carried the legacy of one of America's greatest presidents. Now let's paint the full picture. During 1980, the United States was going through economic transitions. Inflation was high, metal prices were fluctuating, and the mint was under pressure to keep costs low while maintaining coin quality. That's why copper coins from this era are so intriguing. They mark the final years before the shift to zinc. As a result, these older, heavier copper pennies are not only nostalgic but also more desirable among collectors who appreciate their historical and material value. Many collectors start their coin hunting journey with Lincoln pennies because they're easy to find and full of hidden surprises. From wheat cents to memorial designs, and now the shield reverse, every penny tells part of America's story. The 1980 Lincoln penny, with its classic memorial building reverse and the famous motto, E pluribus unum, remains a timeless favorite among U.S. coin enthusiasts. If you've ever thought that a penny isn't worth keeping, think again. Checking your change or coin jars could reveal something truly special. Look closely at the year, check for mint marks, and inspect the coin under good lighting for any doubling, unusual markings, or perfect surfaces. You never know what you might discover, and it might just be worth a small fortune. And now, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. The most exceptional examples of the United States 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin, found in flawless mint condition and graded among the highest by professional graders, have been known to sell for an astonishing $47,000. Yes, you heard that right, a simple 1980 Lincoln penny, something that most people would overlook or spend without a thought, could be worth up to $47,000 to the right collector. So, the next time you come across an old penny, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look, because that tiny piece of copper might just change your life. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin that most Americans have handled countless times without realizing its hidden worth, the United States of America Lincoln 1-cent coin from 1981. Yes, that small copper penny sitting in your change jar or tucked away in an old drawer could actually be worth a shocking amount of money today. So sit back, relax, and get ready to uncover the incredible story, history, and secret value behind the 1981 Lincoln Penny. The Lincoln Penny is one of the most iconic coins ever made in the United States. It has been circulating since 1909, created to honor the 100th birthday of one of America's greatest leaders, President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent replaced the old Indian head penny and became an instant symbol of pride and history. From that moment on, this coin became more than just 1 cent, it became a reminder of America's values, perseverance, and legacy. Now, fast forward to 1981. It was a fascinating year in the world of U.S. coinage and a pivotal time in the story of the Lincoln penny. The country was recovering from economic struggles, inflation was high, and the cost of metals was increasing. The United States Mint was experimenting with new materials and planning to make a significant change in coin production. That makes the 1981 penny one of the last true copper Lincoln cents ever made, marking the end of an era before the mint switched permanently to a cheaper zinc-based design in 1982. This fact alone makes the 1981 penny incredibly special. Each of these coins contains about 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives them that rich, reddish tone that collectors absolutely love. Copper coins not only look more vibrant and solid but also have that classic feel of real metal, something many modern coins lack today. The 1981 Lincoln 1-cent coin was struck at 3 main mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones from Denver bear a small D mint mark below the year on the obverse side, while those from San Francisco have an S mint mark. Coins made in Philadelphia, as usual, have no mint mark. While millions of these coins were produced, not all of them were created equal. Some were made with incredible precision, others with subtle variations, and a few with rare minting errors, and that's where the real treasure lies. Let's start with the design. On the front of the coin, you'll find the familiar, powerful image of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" proudly displayed. Below Lincoln's portrait sits the year, 1981. This simple yet elegant design has stood the test of time, remaining a symbol of strength and integrity. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the detailed image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. If you look closely, you can even spot the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a small but incredible detail that most people overlook. Above the building, the words "United States of America" curve across the top, while the motto "E Pluribus Unum" and the denomination 1 cent appear below. Now, here's where things get interesting for collectors. Not all 1981 Lincoln pennies look the same. During this time, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different proof dies and subtle design modifications. This resulted in 2 main variations of the 1981 S-proof coins, known as Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 proof has a blurry S mint mark, while the Type 2 features a sharper, clearer S. The Type 2 variant is much rarer and therefore much more valuable, especially when found in flawless condition. But even beyond proof coins, some 1981 Lincoln pennies from regular circulation have errors or anomalies that make them worth big money. Collectors and coin graders pay close attention to details like double die obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and die cracks. A double die coin, for instance, shows noticeable doubling in the lettering or numbers, caused when the die strikes the planchet more than once, slightly off alignment. These errors make each coin unique, and the more visible the doubling, the higher its market value. There are also off-center strike errors, where part of the coin's design is missing or shifted due to a misaligned die. Some off-center strikes leave a crescent-shaped blank area on the coin, which can make it look oddly beautiful, and very collectible. Die cracks, on the other hand, appear as raised lines or breaks on the coin's surface caused by aging or damaged dies. While minor cracks don't add much value, dramatic ones can make a coin stand out and sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Condition, however, is always key. A regular 1981 penny that has circulated for years and shows signs of wear might only be worth face value, but when you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, the kind that shines brilliantly under light and shows no scratches, discoloration, or dullness, you might be holding a fortune in your hand. These coins, known as mint state or MS examples, are graded on a scale from MS60 to MS70, with MS70 being absolutely perfect. High-grade coins from 1981, especially those verified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, are highly sought after by serious collectors. Why? Because time has not been kind to copper coins. They tarnish, darken, and corrode easily, making perfect examples from over 40 years ago extremely rare. Finding one in untouched, gem-quality condition is like finding a time capsule straight from the early 1980s, a piece of history preserved in metal. The value of the 1981 Lincoln penny also connects to nostalgia. For many Americans, these coins remind them of childhood, simpler times, and family memories. It's part of why coin collecting remains such a personal and emotional hobby. A small copper coin might not seem like much, but for collectors, it represents craftsmanship, heritage, and the enduring story of America's money. And for those who truly love the thrill of discovery, the hunt for rare varieties and mint errors from 1981 is an adventure in itself. Every time you pick up a coin and check the date, you might stumble upon a treasure that most people have completely overlooked. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know when you might be holding something extraordinary. Imagine going through your old change jar or a forgotten piggy bank from the attic and spotting a shiny 1981 penny with no marks, no scratches, and perfectly sharp details. You take it to a coin expert or send it in for grading, and then you find out that your 1-cent coin is worth more than a brand new car. It sounds like a dream, but for some lucky collectors, it's become a reality. So now comes the big question: how much can a rare and high-grade 1981 Lincoln penny actually be worth? Well, while most of them are worth just a cent or two, the finest examples, those preserved in exceptional mint state condition, sometimes with rare variations or mint errors, have sold for jaw-dropping prices at auctions. In fact, the most valuable of these stunning 1981 Lincoln 1-cent coins have been sold for as much as $44,600. Yes, you heard that right, a simple penny from 1981, the kind you might have spent without a second thought, can be worth $44,600 to the right collector. So the next time you come across an old penny, don't ignore it. Look at the date, check the mint mark, and inspect every detail. You never know, you might just be holding a coin that could change your life. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this fascinating journey through coin history. If you love learning about rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable coin values, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. Keep searching your pocket change, because your next great discovery could be right in your hand. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your next penny find be pure gold in disguise.